Good morning. Friday, the end of the week, and most of you know my schedule is a little bit crazy, and just one thing piles up on top of another. I love what I get to do. I love who I get to do it with. Sometimes I think there's more on my plate, like you feel. Sometimes you think, did I get extra on here that you didn't intend on me to have, God? And but it's a great life. It's great that we get to do all that we get to do, that we get to serve the King. Unbelievable privilege. And could I just ask you here at the end of the week, could I ask you to be faithful to your place? Let's be at church Sunday morning. Be in your adult Sunday school class. Be in your class, you that teach. Be on your bus route. Let's be faithful to tithe. Let's be faithful to give our offerings for missions and the Christian school bus ministry. We need a couple more buses. We really need a couple more buses, and we could use a couple more bus drivers. And be faithful. Be faithful to your jail and your rest home. You know, those people in that jail and rest home services, they're depending on you, and we just can't come and go when we feel like it. There's somebody that needs us, and each one of you is important. You're an usher, be in your spot. If you're a nursery worker, be in your spot. I want to talk about that just for a minute today, and I'll be more brief than normal. But Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6, most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? Most men will proclaim their own goodness. Most people will brag about what they've done, but show us somebody who's there, who's in their place, doing their job. Being faithful as a housewife, being faithful as a grandma, being faithful as a husband or a father, or being faithful to your job. Does your boss wonder whether you're going to get the job done? Are you faithful to your job? Are you faithful to your responsibilities? And I know we probably all of us struggle in one area or another, but we got to labor to be faithful to the things that God has given us the opportunity to do. A faithful man, he says, who can find? And if you go over to chapter 28, I know all of us, we think about, I wish I was better at this or smarter or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be blessed. You're going to be happier marriage, happier kids or whatever. But look at Proverbs 28 and down at verse 20. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. A faithful man shall abound with blessings. See, when you and I decide to be faithful to our duties, however simple they might be, some little unknown job that no one even knows we're doing, but when we are faithful to our job, we're going to abound with blessing. That's a promise of God. And there are things that you do at home, things you do maybe at work. I think of Paul Young in our church. He's been coming here for 35 years. Paul Young is just a servant. For many, many years, he drove a teen soul winning bus faithfully, sang in the choir. Paul is the one that he'll be here early and unlock the building. Forever he would stay and lock the buildings up. And we finally said, hey, look, you go home. One of the younger guys will stick around here because people will stay around forever talking in church. And so we finally got that off his plate. But he's one of the first ones here on Sunday morning. And but I remember when we were renting a little building, and Paul and Gloria first started coming to our church, and Paul started helping us set up in the morning. And he'd just come down before church, help us set up, put everything in order, chairs, tables, whatever. And then when we moved into our tent, Paul would come in and vacuum that carpet. And the carpet was laid on dirt, so you'd suck dirt right through the carpet. And then we put a wooden floor under our tent, and Paul would vacuum that floor, and for a while, there were some skunks built a nest under the wood floor. Nice and comfy for them, but when the vacuum cleaner went over, it scared them, and they'd spray, and then the tent would smell like skunk. But Paul was in his place week after week. And it's not like I paid him. It's not like I even asked him to do it. He saw a job, filled the need, and he accepted it as his own. Just faithful. I remember when we first moved into this building, we baptized in a horse trough forever. We moved into this building, we had a baptistry for the first time in a church, church building, heated baptistry and all that stuff. And I remember asking one of our men, Ted Pardo, I said, Brother Ted, would you just help me out for the first couple of weeks, having the robes there and decision cards, and we'll get this thing going. And it's a new arrangement. And he said, sure, he's still doing it. Him and the Devils, after 20 years or so. So when I ask you, could you help me with something just for a little while, realize I may never replace you. If you're doing a good job, why would I replace you? But faithful, just to tell you that there's something comforting knowing my wife is going to be faithful to me. I mean, to my marriage, faithful to my children. There's something that this. Of course, I grew up in a home where everybody was steady, consistent. So blessed with the kind of family that I had. Over in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 45. Matthew 24:45. Well, I'm in the wrong place here. There we go. Matthew 24:45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give him meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. He says, who is that servant that got his job and he did it, and when the Lord comes back, he finds him doing his job? Oh, let's do our job. Let's be faithful. Be faithful to choir. Be faithful to choir practice. Be faithful to your bus route. Be faithful to teach your Sunday school class. Be faithful, whatever it is you're doing, cleaning the bathrooms or mowing the lawns. Be faithful, washing the windows. Be faithful. There's something wonderful about a group of people who are faithful. And I want to encourage you, be faithful to give financially. The church, God put it in our trust. It's entrusted to us. And if the work of God's going to get done, the bills got to get paid. Missionaries have to be cared for. Buildings have to be maintained. Salaries have to be paid. Let's be faithful to our financial responsibilities as a church. Let's be faithful to pray. The unknown act. Pray. Pray for your country. Pray for your state. Pray for your leaders across the nation. Pray for churches that you know, that God would turn people's hearts heavenward. Pray for Christians to get right with God. Let's be faithful to prayer. Faithful to our Bible. Here at the beginning of the year, let's be faithful to read our Bible each day. And maybe you already missed a day. Don't worry about the one day you missed. Worry about being faithful each day from now on. And let's be faithful. Let's be faithful. Be faithful to love people. Be faithful to be good to people. Let's a faithful man. Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find. Could I ask you? Oh, by the way, don't miss Larry Brown. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday he'll be with us. Sunday school, doing all the adults in one big Sunday school on the home. Talk about the home and the family. And then he'll preach Sunday morning and Sunday night. Don't want to miss Larry Brown. What a great guy. And you'll love him. He's a Southerner, and he was in Washington, Iowa for, I guess, 30 or 40 years. But it never got the South out of him. I don't know where he's from, South Carolina, I think. I think he's out of Harold Seidler's church, but somewhere down that area. But you'll love hearing Larry Brown. But let's be in church, all right? Be in church. Be in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Let's be faithful. Get our kids in. One of the best things you can do for your children is to be faithful. Faithful to Bible reading, faithful to prayer, faithful to your children, faithful to a routine, getting your kids in church. And dads, you be there too. And sing. Be faithful to sing in church. And let's be faithful. He's faithful. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. Don't worry about God. He'll do his job. It's just up to us. Let us be faithful to him. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you for your friendship. I'll just close this real quick. Thank you for your kindness, your encouragement. And I am a very blessed man. And our young people, I look around the church. Some now on Sunday nights on a regular basis, people hanging around the building still half full. And I look around and I think, this whole building's filled with people under 40. There's a lot of older people. They usually get done with church and they go home. But lots of young people. What a blessing to have a church so filled with young people. We are blessed. Oh, God's been good to us. And I'm thankful for you who make this your church home. And you that are from other churches, I hope you'll be faithful to your church and faithful to the pastor and to your spouse, and let's just fill in. We're not here for very long. Let's fill in where those gaps are, and let's be faithful to what God's called us to do. Help we have a great weekend. Tomorrow morning and Sunday morning, let's be in our places. Have a great Friday.